Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about 320. Now, on this channel, I usually don't cover leaks, but I wanted to talk a little bit about master modes. Because the version of 320 that Evocard is currently testing has the master modes enabled, and there are apparently some information that has come out about it. Now, I don't particularly think that this information shouldn't be shared. I mean, I think this is something that CIG should have basically just told us themselves about master modes when they were talking about it. There's no reason why they shouldn't have, talked about this stuff. But ultimately, we won't know until we have 320 in PTU and can test it out ourselves in Arena Commander. Again, this playtest is primarily for Arena Commander, and Master Modes is an experimental mode in Arena Commander. So apparently there is a level where you can fly around and test this, or this is enabled in other combat type scenarios in Arena Commander. Again, I'm not sure which parts of Arena Commander have master modes enabled, or if it is a separate level, but I wanted to kind of cover what is supposed to be in master modes and kind of talk about it a little bit in this video here today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first things first, master modes. When master modes added, you press B to swap between nav and SCM. This is kind of interesting. And SCM mode is the standard control mode. A lot of people consider it standard combat mode, but it is essentially your slow mode where your weapons and shields are enabled. And then nav mode is the mode where your weapons and shields are disabled, but you have control of top speed. Your speed limiter is taken away, and you also have the ability, I believe, to go into two quantum modes: a quantum mode that you control and a quantum mode that is based on whatever point you target. So it's essentially a manual quantum mode and a like an autopilot quantum mode. And I believe the manual quantum mode is like short jumps. Now, I don't know if these two quantum modes are active in this nav mode, but we'll see as we continue through this document here. Okay, says here SCM allows high capacitor regenerate shield and weapon, but restricts max speed. Yeah, it's basically what I just said. Thruster boost after burner will temporarily allow you to extend beyond the SCM speed. Okay, so when you do when you go to your power triangle and you go full power to engines and you go boost, or basically if you just press boost at all, you'll be able to travel beyond the top speed that is SCM in atmosphere. Now, if you're in SCM mode in space, I believe the system will work the same. So if you boost while in combat, let's say you have your power triangle set to the middle and you boost while in combat, you will fly faster than the typical combat speed. Nav allows high speed but no shields and weapons. Yeah, like we talked about, it heavily restricts regen rates. Okay, so now I'm not entirely sure what would be regenerating if your capacitors are not able, maybe just your thrusters. Swapping between master modes is not immediate. This is something that I think is interesting. I think that it should be immediate for some things, like like your capacitors, in my opinion, should be charged. I think obviously it makes sense for your shields to build up to full capacity, because it's essentially a force field that your ship is emitting that protects it. So it kind of makes sense for you to take a little while to go to full shields. But I think you should, automatically be able to control the power to your engines and your weapons, especially if you have ballistic weapons. I don't think, and again, your weapon systems is turned off, so you still won't be able to use ballistic weapons. But when you turn your weapon systems back on, if you have ballistic weapons, there should be no cooldown timer. In my opinion, you should just be able to pull the trigger on those weapons and they should fire. It's the weapon systems computer that's turned off. Once the weapon systems computer is turned back on, maybe it has a boot time. The weapon system computer has to boot up. I don't know. I kind of feel like that's something that should be immediate, and maybe gives the advantage to ballistic weapons. Maybe if you have ballistic weapons, the crossover is immediate, and if you have NG weapons, they kind of have to build up power. That's something they could look into, but again, this is still early days. The next thing is shield face health is stored in a buffer up to a certain ratio when going from SCM to nav. When going from nav to SCM, that buffer will be quickly pushed back into the faces. The shield face generation from that buffer cannot be interrupted by incoming fire. So I believe what this saying is, while your shields are building up, if someone's shooting at you, the shields will still continue to go up. This is, I think, something that they're probably doing that is kind of necessary, just so people who are pulled immediately out of quantum can kind of still use their shields when they go into SCM mode, and so their shields will still essentially kind of be doing something. Won't be full, but it's still building. But I think that that problem could easily be fixed if they make the switch to SCM mode immediately. I don't think that it's a problem kind of having a cooldown if you're going from SCM to nav mode. I think that's fine, because you're essentially just turning your capacitors off, or you're essentially just turning systems off so you can get full speed. So I think it kind of makes sense for there to be okay, now your quantum engines have to kind of spool. And we already have, the thing where we have to wait for the quantum engines to spool. So it makes sense when you switch from SCM mode to nav mode to have, that spool timer. But when you switch from nav mode to SCM, it should be a lot quicker, in my opinion. Okay, so we have some gunnery changes as well. But again, like I said, all this stuff we'll see. We'll see when this stuff gets in PTU. I'm not, passing any judgment on it right now. I'm just, giving my first impressions here. So gunnery changes. New aiming system is enabled. Combined fixed assist was removed. Okay, combined fixed assist. Okay, fixed assist per gun was added. Okay, that's kind of good. Auto gimbal mode, instead of keeping... Okay, they just kind of wrote that twice. Instead of keeping the target in an 8-degree cone, you will need to keep the target roughly around your aim point, and your gimbals will track. When auto gimbals are not tracking, they will act like manual gimbals. Okay. Now, I assume that there's a way to just turn auto gimbals completely off. So you can just use manual gimbals if you want in the settings to just be able to choose. Fixed mode, there is 1 pip per projectile speed group. You will see 1 pip for the KWEs and 1 for the GATS. Okay. Manual gimbal mode now also has fixed assists for each gun. And again, I'm assuming that you can just go into settings and turn fixed assist off. But again, I don't know. Added options show precision lines for fixed and manual gimbal mode. Okay. Added option auto gimbal display focused on average pip or focus on target with gimbal position indicators. Okay. New target bracket, okay. Drastically increased ballistic ammo. This is really good. I kind of felt like the ballistic ammo counts was kind of keeping ballistic weapons back. The way it is now, it's like ballistic weapons kind of just last you one fight. If you try to get into combat with every ship, like let's say you take a mission and there's two ships in your target. Most people, what they do is they just kill the target and move on to the next one and ignore the other two. Especially if they have a ballistic weapon loadout. And to me, I feel like just to have to go back to the hangars and or the pads and rearm, it just makes sense to double the ammo amounts and give players the ability to do at least 2 missions or kill all the targets in a single mission with the ammo that they have. Because again, what a lot of people do is that they size up, which is kind of unnecessary with ballistic weapons. But yeah, the tracking is not as good. It is essentially kind of what happened, in my opinion, with the Inferno. The ship is pretty good for ground and larger ships, but using it for anything else is just kind of a no-go. I feel like doubling the ammo would kind of help people out. Honestly, any ballistic without gimbals is just kind of like you're wasting your time. Where were we here? Manual gimbal mode has fixed this. Okay, we read all that. Drastically increased ballistic ammo, removed N1 system, and a size 3 gimbal will now hold a size 3 gun with. Okay, that is great. That's what I was just talking about. The N1 system's kind of whack. It's basically where you have any mount sizes down. So if you have a size 3 mount and you put a gimbal on it, it's now a size 2. Again, doesn't make any sense to me. But it was the system that we had, and there was technically nothing wrong with it, and people didn't really have a huge problem with it because it was like a penalty for having the size weapons that a ship was supposed to have, basically, just so you have the ability to gimbal it. But I don't really think that that's necessary. Now, with the penalty, I don't know, they don't specify. If the penalty is just like resource management penalty, I think that's fine. Or like an ammo count penalty, I think that's fine. That's basically what we have now. Like if you put a size 3 weapon, you're gonna have less ammo than if you had a size 2 weapon on there, energy weapon. But for ballistics, I feel like with ballistics going up and being able to gimbal if you have a size 3, that's going to be really good for just about any ship that isn't a combat ship. I mean, for combat ships, it's going to be huge. It's going to be great. But I feel like it's also going to be pretty good for non-combat ships to actually have their size weapons if they want to gimbal it, because you're not as maneuverable in a non-combat ship. So you basically need gimbals. If you're an industrial ship, you basically need gimbals because your ship is not as maneuverable. So being able to have the actual size weapon on there is going to be huge. Custom weapon stats for the Gladius weaponry. I don't know what that means. I think this is Squadron 42 thing. Shield layout for the used Gladius is now front and back. Okay. And let's keep going here. Targeting changes, button change, R closest hostile, T cycle hostiles in view, 5 cycle all in view. Okay. Auto targeting if no target is present, or if you press left alt plus R, the closest visible hostile will be targeted. Targets will automatically swap if better targets are in view. Any manual target control will cancel that process. Added bindings to allow setting the default convergence distance directly from an input access. However, there's no UI for this yet. Okay, that's basically good. Yeah, that's good. That's fine, I guess. Added binding to suppress aim assist as long as the button is held. Use it to feel that aim assist works. Again, I think that's cool. I think maybe they'll also have that in settings, so you will be able to essentially just have that toggle or just turn off in settings. Okay, so yeah, again, the pipeline Discord Wikipedia. So I think those are some interesting changes. I'm very interested in the ballistic ammo count increase. I am very interested in the N1 system going the way of the dodo bird. I'm also interested in how the transition cooldown between SCM and nav mode, what that actually is like. And I'm interested in the new flight model stuff. I think master modes. Yeah, flight mode changes. I don't even think we did. I look at this. Tricording is not possible anymore. The strongest acceleration axis is forward. No, I missed that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, tricording is essentially where you angle your ship so you can move fastest in any direction. They basically want your forward direction to be the fastest now, so I mean, I think that's fine. That kind of makes sense. You have the largest engines in the back. Pitch and yaw cannot be combined anymore. Yeah, so basically what that means, I don't know if I can give you an example of that. Let me see here. I have a little model MSR here on my desk. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm trying not to knock the microphone right now. Okay, that is very overexposed here, but as you can see, it's like it's a little model MSR. So basically, okay, let me see if I can, yeah. So yeah, your pitch is up and down like that. Your yaw is left and right like that. Your roll is like that. So basically they're saying you can't go up like this and turn like that and keep pitching up. So what they want you to do in this new system is to pitch up like that and roll to turn. So if you want to turn while pitching up, you have to roll instead of pitching up and yawing. So essentially what you would see ships do in the verse is you would see ships kind of flying sideways up. They don't want you to do that anymore. They want you, when you go up, to roll like that. So you pitch up and you roll and you go that way. It looks a little bit more realistic than pitching up and being sideways and flying up like that. So that's essentially what that is. So yeah, this is my little 3D printed MSR. You really can't see it. Let me see if I can adjust the camera in here, the light. Yeah, you still can't see it. It's just like I have a lot of lights on for this setup, so you guys can like actually see my face in this dark room. Oh man, okay, my whole light's messed up. Okay, we're back. Okay, so the Gladius agility was increased. I don't think that's necessary, but it's probably a Squadron 42 thing. Boost and regen were adjusted. Okay, that's pretty interesting, but we'll see how that actually turns out when we get our hands in 320. But yeah, I guess that's going to be kind of it for me here today. I kind of turned a 5-minute video into a 20-minute video like I always do. I cannot just, make a 5-minute video. But let me know what you guys think in comments down below. Are you excited for 320? Are you excited to check out master modes? Get in. We need a ton of testing with this. So when PTU hits, I want to see all you guys in there testing it out. I know I'm going to be in there making videos with you guys, for you guys. So this is exciting. I kind of feel like it means that 320 is probably around the corner. Kind of surprised that 320 doesn't have more content. I was, kind of expecting to hear more about the cargo refactor changes, bounty hunting, cargo elevators, all this stuff. I guess they're saving that for the next patch. I think 320 is just going to end up being Arena Commander. That's kind of fine if we can get in and test out master modes though. So I really want to hear what you guys think. Are you excited for master modes? Are you excited for 320? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys. Other than that, that's going to be it for me here today, you guys. Like I always say, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. I almost forgot my own line there for a second. Salute.